Ready? Hey guys, Sasha from netbooknews.com. We're over here in a cafe in Yonghe in Taipei, and we're just taking a look at the ePad Transformer TF101 that got out about half a year ago. But it seems that ASUS finally shrunk it a little bit. So that was the first generation, and ta-da-da-da, here is the second generation. That's a new ASUS ePad Transformer Prime. That's the very first tablet based on the new NVIDIA Tegra 3 quad-core platform. So let's take a quick look around the system. I'm pretty sure you've been already reading a couple of rumors of this device, and so anyways, let's take a look. We have an 8 megapixel camera here on the back, and what I really like is this nice aluminum finish on the back, and with the circles it kind of reminded me of the ZenBook design. That means the ASUS UX21, UX31. Over here we have a volume control. Is this a micro USB? No, it's not a micro USB. Not at all, whatever it is. It's micro SD here. And on the other side we have a jack for your headset, and there's a power button on the top of it. We have a connector for the PSU, and over here we have a USB and an SD card reader. Of course, this is attached now to the keyboard that we already know from the first generation of the ePad Transformer. It has now a nice large white trackpad with integrated mouse buttons, of course. The feedback of the keyboard itself is just great, right? Feels very solid. Kind of reminded me of the first chiclet keyboard of the EPC series in the past. So let's take a quick look how it compares to the first generation, and you can already tell. I mean, look at this in terms of thickness. This is way bigger, and the first generation of the ePad Transformer also had a different tracker. Now, take a look at the different keyboards. Can you see that? This is way slimmer and thinner, and while we had a single mouse button here on the TF101, now we have this integrated one on the new, I think it's also called TF201. Yeah, so the Transformer Prime. So that looks pretty decent. Now
how was the feedback compared to them? Because I thought this was actually a little bit more solid.
In general, I mean it's very thin here, and the feedback of the keyboard, the keys, is definitely very solid. It feels a little bit more plasticky, a little bit cheaper on the first generation, while this is more high-end. And I think this is also how ASUS is going to position the Prime. This is more the high-end version of the hybrids, while this is going to be the entry-level version of it. Now let's take a look at the sizes again. Can you see that the Prime is a little bit smaller? I remember that this one was used, it was pretty wide at the beginning to match this kind of form factor of the keyboard, because it almost reminded me, as I said already earlier, from the EPC netbooks. This one is way smaller right now. Now let's stack them up. Can you see that? It's like about a finger. I would guess an inch. About an inch, yeah? And how about the thickness? Oh, look at this. That's definitely a difference. And it's also a difference in terms of weight, I can tell you that. Now let's get rid of the docking station and let's just focus on the tablet itself, because this is also something I need to point out. They really optimized this mechanism for the docking station. It's way easier to use the docking station, or to get the tablet off and on the docking station with the Prime. Now look at this. Here we go. Fantastic. Very easy. While over here, it was a kind of pain in the ass, I tell you. Oh well.
It even sounds more difficult.
Exactly. Well, actually, it kind of worked out pretty well right now. But anyways, let's get rid of the keyboards. You can also see, you know, this is definitely different. And now look at
the mechanism.
Look at this mechanism here. This is absolutely optimized, and it's way more solid.
Well, the reason why the Prime is much smaller than the original is that
it won't fit in.
Well, no, but the Prime's actually made of aluminum, so and the original was made of plastic, so they needed to make this bigger.
Exactly.
In order to reduce the stress on the tablet.
Let's get rid of the keyboards or the docking stations, and let's focus on the tablet set. We're switching this one off. And now here we go. And again, you can see the size difference. Not only in terms of how wide it is, but now let's take a look at how thin it is. So we got the Prime over here and the TF101 on the left side. Huge difference. And in general, right, just to give you a little sneak preview, even though that we're doing an additional video on this, here's the iPad 2. Can you see that? So I think the Prime is a little bit thinner than the iPad 2. Let's get rid of the Cupertino tablet again. And let me tell you a little bit about the look and feel of it. What I didn't like about the first generation of the ePad Transformer, it felt a little bit edgy, kind of sharp edges, plasticky. It was a little bit bulky to hold, right? But still a very decent tablet, right? I like the back and the finish of the back. This one really reminds me of the iPad 2. Very round edges, nice aluminum finish. It's very light, it's thin, and yeah, it's very easy to hold, right? So this is a huge improvement compared to the very first generation of the ePad Transformer. So what can we expect in terms of performance? We took a couple of benchmarks that you can see right now in the slideshow. So, what about performance? Well, you saw a couple of benchmarks, but keep in mind, these are benchmarks. So, of course, in real life situation and scenario, it might look a little bit different. What we experienced in terms of performance of this device was really great. It felt very zippy, and it's definitely something that's going to set a new benchmark with the Tegra 3. What about battery life? The battery life depends, of course, of what you're doing. I think ASUS claimed to have like 12 hours of video playback. That's because it's going to run on the fifth single core of the Tegra 3 platform. So you can easily do 720p, 1080p playback. That shouldn't be a problem. When it comes to the combination with the docking station, well, that was the first generation. Here's the new one. I think ASUS claimed about like 16 hours. We really need to take a look into it and run a couple of stress tests on it. I'm pretty sure that we can do this in the next 2 weeks, so we can see how the battery life improved. In general, first impression of the ePad Transformer Prime, very positive. It's a huge improvement to the previous generation of the Prime. I love the build quality of it. It's thin, it's light, it looks good, and you know that's the way I would imagine an Android 3, Android 4 hybrid tablet. ASUS did a bloody good job on this. Great finish, good quality, and this is definitely setting a benchmark when it comes to the new quad-core tablets for 2012. That's the new ASUS ePad Transformer Prime. Sasha from netbooknews.com. Thanks for watching.